So for their debut on the channel, we have 750 points of Deathwatch. Now, both lists that you're going to see here today, the Deathwatch and the Imperial Guard, are more sort of fluffy lists. We've both just taken sort of patrol-based lists. It's more combat patrol in the traditional style than for competitive play. So you might see a few fluffy upgrades here and there. But without further ado, let's get into the Deathwatch. So we have 6 Deathwatch bikers, 2 with power mauls, 3 with power swords, and then the sergeant, which is this model here, has a power axe. We then have a captain who is armed with a power sword and combi flamer, and we have a venerable dreadnought with twin las cannon, dreadnought power fist, and there's a storm bolter underneath that as well. And then finally, what Deathwatch army would be complete without a kill team? This kill team is completely WYSIWYG, so we have a sergeant with xenophase blade and combi melter. We have a black shield with twin lightning claw. 3 regular veterans with bolter and power sword. A terminator with power fist and assault cannon. And finally, just a regular veteran with just a bolter. So that's what you get for your 750 points of Deathwatch. Let's see what the Guard. So here we are, 750 points of Imperial Guard. I have decided, like I said before, this is sort of a more fluffy army, so I have taken a few choices that may not be completely competitive, but that's perfectly okay. These are just a friendly game today. So over here we have an infantry squad with grenade launcher and autocannon, and another infantry squad with grenade launcher and autocannon. And then we have 2 infantry squads just with flamers. And then leading the platoon, we have a platoon command squad with missile launcher, platoon standard, and a grenade launcher. And then we have a junior officer on the right here, who's got a bolt pistol and power sword. We have a Lord Commissar with power fist here, and we have a company commander here with plasma pistol and power sword. We then have a Hellhound with hull heavy flamer and inferno cannon. A Chimera with hull heavy flamer, multi-laser and storm bolter. And then we have 3 Scout Sentinels over here, which they do have the Sentinel Chainsaw Blade upgrade, but they do not have the heavy flamers. Instead, they have multi-lasers. So these 3 models are the only things which aren't WYSIWYG in this battle. So there we go. Bit of a bigger guard force, but we'll have to see how Deathwatch fare against this platoon. Here we have guardsmen. The warlords for both armies. On the right we have the Deathwatch captain, and he is taking the warlord trait which gives him +1 attack. And on the left we have the Lord Commissar for the guard, and he is going to have draconian discipline. The regiment trait for this army is going to be Cadian, and the Black Watcher in a patrol detachment, and the Imperial Guard are in a battalion detachment. So the Imperial Guard will have 3 more command points than the Deathwatch. So here we are after deployment. The mission is big guns never tire, but neither side has any heavy support, so it's essentially just 4 objectives. The objectives are located here, 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 and here. So deployment is the Deathwatch bikers have come along over here, and then the kill team with the captain and the venerable dreadnought is in this bit of terrain over here. Over here, the Imperial Guard have set up their platoon in a classic sort of 2 ranks. You've got flamer squads up front, and then armour and support squads to the rear. And then covering on one flank, lone wolves, 3 sentinels. We'll see what they can do. So, currently the Deathwatch have first turn, and the Imperial Guard are going to attempt to seize the initiative. No, that's a 4. So, we'll be back at the end of Deathwatch. So, a pretty good opening Deathwatch turn. The bikes came in here, murderized this infantry squad between shooting and combat. Did exactly the right amount of wounds they needed just to finish them off. But they have taken a wound on this biker thanks to Overwatch. This squad over here was pretty badly mauled by battle shock and by the shots from this kill team. And this Hellhound is only on 1 wound from twin lance cannon, got 2 hits. And then both went through, and then I couldn't save any, then he got a 5 and a 6, but he has used a few command points to help with his rerolls overall. So that's it. Let's see what the Guard can do. So Imperial Guard turn 1, they got hit hard and they hit back pretty hard as well. Lots of shooting went into this squad, and managed to kill them down to 2 guys, and we did a mass charge from 2 full squads, commander with a power sword, and a 2-man squad over there, and we killed 1 more and put 1 more wound on the sergeant. So that's it. That's all we've done so far. Let's see what Deathwatch can do. So Deathwatch turn was pretty effective. They finished off the Hellhound over here, and they obliterated the Chimera over here. Bit of a funny moment where I just kept thinking that the dice was a 5 and it was a 6, and I thought my Chimera had 1 wound left, but it didn't. So there we go. Over here, the Deathwatch guy was he came in, cut 2 guys down, and then was unceremoniously bludgeoned by the remainder of the guardsman squad. And these Deathwatch are advancing forward, laying down a hail of fire with support from that Dreadnought. So let's see what the Guard can do in their turn 2. So Imperial Guard turn 2, I believe, yeah. Everyone just stayed where they are, everyone took aim, everyone got rerolls. The Terminator absorbed all the small arms, but we did manage to bring down the basic bolter guy and a bolter power sword guy. Now that might not seem like a huge amount, but considering pretty much that's how many models are left on the board, every casualty that we cause is a big deal for these Deathwatch. So let's see what this kill team can do. So as you can see, pretty good Deathwatch turn. They marched out from that terrain, fired some shots, whittled down a few from the squad. Their shooting was pretty good, but then saves. I made all my saves. It was actually he made all his shots, nearly wounded everything, and I just made all my saves. It was a bit wacky dice, to be honest. But then they got a long charge in. They diced up most of the squad, but due to tactical sort of casualty removal, I made sure that this Terminator couldn't roll, and then he couldn't finish the squad off. So we've still got 2 guys left over. So the captain's over here, the Dreadnought's still over there. And the last thing to mention is the Dreadnought did fire the las cannons at these Sentinels, but only did 3 wounds, so that was pretty lucky for me. So, got a Deathwatch kill team in our face. What can the Imperial Guard do to try and slow down these superhumans? The Guard initiated a glorious counter charge. Everyone charging in and shooting in against the Deathwatch, and we brought them down to just 1 guy over here. The junior officer over here has taken 2 wounds, and that is it. So the Deathwatch are reduced to 3 models, but they are not out of this fight yet. That Dreadnought can cause me a lot of issues. So let's see what Deathwatch can do in their turn 4. Okay, so the Deathwatch captain came in and helped out his beleaguered sergeant. He did manage to successfully cut down 3 or 4 of these guardsmen, and the Deathwatch sergeant himself was able to cut down the junior officer, but in return he was bludgeoned by this squad. So it is Imperial Guard turn 4. Let's see what they can do. The Deathwatch have got the captain and the Dread, so not a lot left, but the Guard platoon is pretty badly ravaged, and I should mention the Dreadnought did manage to finish off this Sentinel. So, let's see what the Guard can do in their turn 4. For the Guard, we managed to reduce the captain down to 2 wounds. He has taken 3. It's Deathwatch turn 5 now. Let's see what they can do with the Dread and the captain. The captain charged in here, burst through the ranks of the Guard, did a bit of flaming, a bit of shooting, but he has murdered the company commander here. 5 hits, 5 wounds, no saves made. The guy has literally pulled limb from limb. In return, however, these guardsmen did get all hits, and they got a wound on the captain, and that wound did sneak through, so he is on his last wound now. And over here, the Dreadnought was able to reduce this vehicle down to 1 wound, but there are 2 Sentinels left. Okay, let's see what the Guard can do in their turn 5. So, end of Guard turn 5, end of the game. We fell back our 2 infantry squads onto this objective just to make sure that was secured. We made sure we had 2 Sentinels within 3 inches of this objective, and then the Commissar opened up. Didn't manage to wound the captain, who had 1 wound left. The las guns from the heavy weapon team and the guy carrying the flag opened up, and he made his saves. And then finally, the crack grenade from the grenade launcher. I'm always poo-pooing these grenade launchers, but they've actually done alright this game. Not going to lie, they've definitely got their points back across the army, because he got the hit, got the wound, and just had a 50-50 chance, and unfortunately it didn't go the way of the Deathwatch captain, so just blown away by a crack grenade. And it's just a bit interesting because that always seems to happen when I shoot my crack grenades at characters. They always seem to do quite well. That was always the case in 6th and 7th edition. But that's it. So we have rolled to see if the game continued, and we got a 1. That's the dice right there. So the Guard controlled 2 objectives, and the Deathwatch controlled 1 objective. So that's 6 points to the Guard, 3 points to Deathwatch. But then the Guard have Warlord, so that's 7, but the Deathwatch have First Blood, so that's 4. So 3-point difference, so minor victory to the Guard, and an absolutely fantastic game. It was very interesting using the different upgrades that I wouldn't normally take. No plasma, apart from 1 plasma pistol in this list. But we'll do a bigger review of that in the after action report. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.